Hi guys, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist. In this case I'm going to be showing you the product catalog for the Condor tool and knife company. This is the catalog that came along with my Condor knife, which is this one that you see here. This is the Kumunga that I've previously reviewed. And I thought it would be interesting to go through the catalog because they are making some interesting stuff. It's worth going through it and talking a bit about it. So let's just do that. Condor has been making knives since 1787. They are located in El Salvador, mostly concentrated on doing very practical tools, mostly machetes. That's the thing they've been doing clearly the most, but they've taken a twist towards more commercially interesting choices as well. So they've made a catalog that shows some of the stuff that they're doing. They explain some of the quality control and the torture tests that they do so as to test the quality of the blades. Condor product warranty, limited lifetime warranty. They explain the materials used, which is English 420 high carbon steel, surgical quality stainless steel, and German 1075 high carbon steel. Those are the steels that they use the most for their blades. 1075, which is great, and 420 high carbon, which I'm not that sure as of right now. 1075 I do have a bit more of experience with, and I know it's good stuff if properly heat treated. So as I was saying before, the catalog has been extended quite a bit. They've been doing knives that are of commercial interest. I think that they understood quite well what the market is going for, and they're trying to do their best so as to provide for that. You see some of the more typical bushcraft type of knives. You have this one. This is the Bushcraft knife. 1075 high carbon steel, 1/8 of an inch thick, hardwood or micarta. This is, I'm sure these are well priced for people that want a typical bushcraft knife. You see some of the more the standard Puko knives. Good offerings by the guys of Condor. These are 4 inches long, a bit longer than that, 4 5/16 of an inch. 2, 4, and 5 inches, and this one 3 inches long. They do have, I think it's maybe because it's still something produced in El Salvador. It's more of a Latin type of configuration. The handle, I believe, is a bit too small for the American and European market, so that's probably something that they'll have to redesign or reconfigure a bit. As I explained on the previous video, the handle is just a tad too small. This knife, this is one of the ones that I would be making a little annotation on. This is a very interesting knife. This is the Hudson Bay knife. It's 1075 high carbon steel, 3/16 of an inch, great hardwood handle, and it comes with a sheath as well, handcrafted weathered leather sheath. The design is a typical trades knife, something very practical, nothing too outrageous or crazy, but a good classic geometry. If the clip point is done well, this would be a very practical knife. With that kind of steel, this is 8.5 inches long in terms of the blade. It's a great option, I think. This is something that I'm definitely going to be getting later on. More stuff. They obviously try to cover as much as possible. Here is the series of the Rodan, Varan, and Kumunga knives. The Kumunga is the one that I've previously reviewed in the previous video. As I explained there, these names are of monsters of the Godzilla series. It's like a giant lizard. The Kumunga is like a giant spider. So awful choice. I don't know why they went that way, but it's actually pretty bad, especially when it would have been so much easier to name these knives for what they are. This is a Puko knife. This is a Sami knife from the Finnish people. The handle is exactly as you would see in a Sami knife, or also known as Leuku knife. So the blade, the handle is exactly the same. Why not name it for what it is instead of putting it with an awful monster, awful monster name? This, the one that I previously reviewed, is 10 inches, 1075 steel, 3/16 of an inch thick. The other ones, it was 8 inches long and 5 1/4 of an inch. These would be, in my opinion, at least for what I want, it's a bit too short. Can probably get by with a folder for the tasks these knives are capable of, and this one, at least for me, would be something that I'm more interested in. Another knife that caught my eye, it's this one, the mountain knife. The mountain knife is very, again, a classy geometry, shape. It's the only thing that I don't like that much about it is that it's not 1075. It's 420 high carbon stainless steel. 420 is actually pretty crappy in terms of knife steel. The high carbon variation, it's supposed to be better. I don't have as much experience with it as I do with the 1075, which I know is good if properly heat treated. So I'm still, that's the only thing that I don't like that much about it. But otherwise, I'm still going to be getting one because the handle is interesting and seems to be functional enough. Same for the general geometry of the blade. It is a bit thinner than the Kumunga knife. It's 3/32 of an inch, but I don't have a problem with that. If the steel is good enough, if this 420 high carbon steel is good enough and well heat treated, it should do well. Sometimes people focus too much on the thickness blade, thinking that it's all about that. It's not. If you have, especially when you have this size of a knife, this is it comes in 8, 10 and 12 inch long blade variations, so you have a well-sized blade, so it's not that important to have too much of a thickness. Sometimes it's more practical for some tasks, but it's not that big of a deal if the knife is properly made. Looking a bit more into the series, what we have, the jungle knife, jungle bowie, seems, yeah, interesting. The combat machete, also a knife that it looks very nice. Combat machete seems to be a practical big blade, especially if you want something that may also double as a defensive tool. More stuff. Yeah, they clearly understood what they had to go for so as to satisfy the American and European market. You have some neck knives here, so well done. These guys have been pretty smart in what they're offering. Nice variety of models and designs. Throwing knives as well, not my cup of tea, but a bit more classic shapes. Classic geometry of a blade. Machetes, which is what Condor is better known for. You have the Bolo machete. Again, this is a 420 high carbon steel, 15.5 inch blade. The typical Latin blade is El Salvador machete. This is a typical Latin machete, staple all across Latin America. 18 inch blade. More here, the hog sticker machete. This is actually pretty interesting. This is actually pretty good. The hog sticker, well, the thing is that in South America they do quite a bit of dog and knife hunting. Usually they use, at least in Argentina, they mostly use dogo knives for hog hunting. The dogos, you know, they chase the hog, they keep it down, and you stick it and you stab it with a knife. Usually the knives used for hog hunting are of this type of configuration, or what was before shown as the combat machete. This blade, this geometry, this shape of a blade, this is a typical knife used for hog hunting in South America. You want a bit more of a reach, but you also want a tip that's going to be penetrating well, because it's not easy to stab a hog. It's very, the skin, it's very thick, so you want something that's going to be penetrating well. So I see why they went for that name, and I suppose it would be doing rather well. Jungle Saber Machete. They try to do a bit of everything. Clearly, Puerto Rican Machete. Nice. Viking Machete. What else? Salvador Machete. Again, a hog sticker machete. It's a bit shorter one. Eco Survivor. Eco Survivor. I don't know why they went for that name. This one is also interesting. The Barong Machete. This type of blade would do well in both chopping, and it still has a good penetrating tip as well. So it's a good general purpose type of shape. What else we have here? More machetes. Kukri Machete. This is also interesting. This is actually a good model as well. It's a 1075 high carbon steel, epoxy black powder coating finish, hardwood handle, and comes as well with a sheath 1/8 of an inch thickness, and it's 13-inch blade. So yeah, this would be a really nice knife. Good big knife. The handle seems to have been done well, so if it's properly made, this is going to be an interesting knife as well to keep in mind. Kukri Machete, definitely something that I'm going to be looking for. They clearly understood what they had to be going for. Notice how they're offering a sword as well. Bush Cutlass. The Cutlass is the first knife that Cold Steel ever offered. They had done their research. They knew that there was it was a model that there was going to be more of an interest on, probably, and it's no surprise now seeing Condor doing the exact same thing. Axes as well, good variety of them, great. Throwing axes. So yes, it's a pretty broad spectrum of offerings by Condor. Some shovels, and yeah, this is the typical. It's more like the woodsman's pal. Don't know if it's as well made as the woodsman's pal, but that's kind of like it. And finally, some merchandising: hats, t-shirts, and snuggler gun case. Guys, that was the Condor product catalog. It's 2011, even though it's 2012, but this is the one that I got with my Condor knife. Folks, that's all for now. I hope you're liking these videos. I'm gonna be doing more of it. If you like, consider subscribing as well. Take care and see you in our next video. Bye bye.